My boyfriend reads my messages every night. Should I leave him? Hi, throwaway account because my boyfriend knows my main, and honestly, I'm terrified he'll find this. I, 24, a female, have been dating my boyfriend, 29, male, for just over 3 years now. And up until recently, I would have sworn he was my person. We've lived together for about a year and a half, share bills, rent, a cat, a whole little life together. To the outside world, we probably look like one of those stable, slightly boring, but happy couples. He has a steady job in IT. I work in marketing. We do brunches with friends, visit each other's families, make stupid TikToks together when we're tipsy. On paper, it's fine. On paper, it's good. But lately, I feel like I'm living in some weird double life. The version of us that looks perfect during the day, and the version of me at night, lying in bed next to someone who I don't fully trust anymore. And I can't believe I'm even typing that. Because the word trust has always been this huge thing in our relationship. Like, from day one, he's been big on honesty and transparency. He used to tell me that his ex girlfriend cheated on him and he never wanted to feel blindsided like that again. I felt so bad for him at the time, so I leaned into it. Shared my passwords, let him scroll through my memes, showed him my DMs if a random guy was being creepy. It felt harmless. Like, if I had nothing to hide, why not? But now it doesn't feel harmless. It feels like I can't breathe. And I don't know if I'm crazy or dramatic or what, but I feel like this thing that started as we're so open with each other has mutated into something else entirely. Something darker. Something I'm embarrassed to admit to my friends because I can already hear the judgment in their voices. Something I haven't told my mom because she would panic and tell me to pack my bags tonight. The something is this: my boyfriend checks my phone every single night, like clockwork. Sometimes he waits until he thinks I'm asleep, sometimes he's not even subtle about it anymore. I'll be drifting off and feel the mattress shift, and when I crack my eyes open, he's there with my phone in his hand, scrolling, scrolling, scrolling. Texts, Instagram, emails, dud knows what else. He never asks, he just takes. And I lie there, my heart pounding, pretending to sleep because I don't know what else to do. I keep telling myself it's not that big of a deal, that it's just a phone. But it feels more than that. It feels like a violation. It feels like I'm not allowed to have thoughts or conversations that are just mine anymore. And the worst part? In the daylight, when he's smiling and cooking me eggs and kissing my forehead, I almost convince myself I imagined it. Almost. Okay, so to understand how things got to this point, I feel like I need to rewind a little bit because it's not like he was creepy or controlling from day one. If he had been, I don't think I would have fallen for him. We met at a friend's house party 3.5 years ago. I remember it so vividly because I wasn't even supposed to go. I was tired, it was raining, and I had just gotten out of a situationship that left me feeling small. But my best friend dragged me there, promising at least there will be good snacks. And that's where I saw him. Tall, dark hair, kind of nerdy, but with that quiet confidence some guys have. He was standing by the kitchen island arguing with someone about Star Wars, of all things. Somehow we ended up talking, and the conversation flowed so easily. He asked my number, he texted me that night when I got home, and the next day he asked me out for coffee. It felt like a rom-com, and after dating a string of flaky guys who ghosted after 3 dates, he felt like a breath of fresh air. He was stable. He called when he said he would. He listened when I talked. He wanted to know everything about me. At the beginning, his curiosity felt flattering, like he genuinely wanted to know me. He'd ask about my childhood, my dreams, my favorite songs, and yes, my past relationships. I thought it was just normal getting to know you stuff. But looking back, some of those questions were a little intense. Like he wanted every detail about my exes. When we got to the topic of my college boyfriend, he grilled me. How long we dated, why we broke up, whether I ever cheated. I remember laughing it off, saying, "Why does it matter? That was years ago." But he pressed. He always wanted the whole story. Still, I brushed it aside. He had told me early on that his last girlfriend cheated on him and he never wanted to feel blindsided like that again. I felt so bad for him at the time, so I leaned into it, shared my passwords, let him scroll through my memes, showed him my DMs if a random guy was being creepy. It felt harmless. Like, if I had nothing to hide, why not? The first year of our relationship was actually really good. We traveled, we got a cat together, we spent whole weekends binge watching shows and eating takeout. He was affectionate, funny in a dry way, thoughtful. He never forgot my coffee order. He remembered little things I said in passing. My family liked him, although my mom once said he seemed intense. My friends thought he was a little quiet, but solid, reliable. There were little red flags, though. Like, once I came back from a night out with my coworkers, and he immediately asked, "Who was there? Were there guys? Did anyone hit on you?" He said it with a laugh, but his eyes were sharp. Or the time my phone buzzed and he casually said, "Who's texting you this late?" It didn't feel like casual curiosity, more like an interrogation. But again, I dismissed it. I told myself it was just because of what he went through before. When we decided to move in together after a year and a half, I felt excited. Like, this is the next step. This is what people do when they're serious. We found a nice little two-bedroom apartment, split the bills, built IKEA furniture together without killing each other. It felt right. And at first, living together was amazing. We had little routines. I cooked, he did the dishes, he watered the plants, I cleaned the bathroom. We'd play video games side by side. We'd have lazy Sunday mornings where he would bring me coffee and bed. It felt like we were building a life. But that's also when those small cracks started getting bigger. Because when you live with someone, you see everything. And for him, that meant seeing more of my phone, my habits, my social life. And that curiosity that once felt sweet started to feel suffocating. The first time I realized something was really wrong was about 6 months after we moved in together. It was a random Tuesday night, nothing special. I'd had a long day at work. We ate dinner, watched a few episodes of The Office, his comfort show, and went to bed. I was exhausted and fell asleep almost instantly. Except I woke up around 2 a.m. to the faint glow of a screen. At first, I thought maybe I'd forgotten to turn off the TV, but then I rolled over slightly and saw him sitting up in bed, my phone in his hand, scrolling like his life depended on it. My stomach dropped. It was this weird, surreal moment. Like, why would he need to be on my phone? At first, I thought maybe he was just checking the time or something innocent. But then I saw him swiping through messages. My heart started pounding so loudly I was afraid he'd hear it. I froze. I didn't say anything. I just lay there with my eyes barely open, pretending to still be asleep. He scrolled for at least 20 minutes before quietly putting the phone back on the nightstand, turning over, and going to sleep. The next morning, he acted totally normal, made coffee, kissed me on the forehead, asked about my day. I tried to convince myself I imagined it, that maybe I dreamed it. But the seed of doubt was planted. Over the next few weeks, it kept happening. Always at night, always when he thought I was asleep. Sometimes it was for a few minutes, sometimes nearly an hour. He'd scroll through texts with my best friend, Instagram DMs, even random group chats about work. And I just lay there, paralyzed, unable to call him out. It felt like a betrayal, but I didn't know how to even begin that conversation. What made it worse was the little comments he started making. Like, one day I mentioned that I wanted to go to brunch with my friend, and he casually said, "Oh, is that same brunch spot you told her about last week?" I hadn't told him that. I texted her that. Or he'd make a snarky comment about a meme I'd sent, pretending he'd seen it somewhere else. It was like he wanted me to know he knew things but didn't want to admit how he knew them. I started feeling paranoid. I'd censor myself when texting friends, deleting harmless conversations just in case. I even stopped journaling in my notes app because I was terrified he'd read my private thoughts. I began to feel like I didn't have anything that was truly mine anymore. Even my stupid grocery list felt like something he could pick apart. One night, I couldn't take it anymore. I stayed awake on purpose, pretending to sleep, and sure enough, like clockwork, around 1:30 a.m., I felt the mattress shift. I cracked my eyes just enough to see him. There he was again, my phone glowing in his hands. This time, I decided to test him. I rolled over suddenly and said, "What are you doing?" He froze like a kid caught with his hand in the cookie jar. Then he laughed awkwardly and said, "Oh, nothing. I couldn't sleep. I was just checking the weather for tomorrow." "The weather? On my phone?" I asked. My voice was shaky, my chest tight. He shrugged and said, "Yeah, my phone's charging in the living room." But I knew. I knew he'd been digging. And the way he brushed it off, like it was no big deal, made me feel like I was going insane. After that, it became this unspoken thing between us. He'd keep checking, I'd keep pretending not to notice. But the tension started bleeding into my days. I'd be at work trying to focus on a project, and all I could think about was what he'd be snooping through that night. I'd go out with friends and feel this pit in my stomach, knowing he'd probably dissect every text about it later. It wasn't just about privacy, it was about trust. I felt like he was accusing me of something I hadn't done every single night. Like the fact that he had to check meant he didn't believe me, didn't believe us. And yet, he never said anything directly, never accused me of cheating, never confronted me about anything he saw. He just silently monitored me. The worst moment came about 3 weeks ago. I had been messaging a coworker about a project deadline. Completely work related, totally professional. The next night, out of nowhere, my boyfriend said, "So, you and Josh seem pretty close, huh?" My stomach dropped. I hadn't mentioned Josh to him, ever. I asked, "What do you mean?" He smirked and said, "Nothing, just seems like you two talk a lot." I wanted to scream. It was work. But instead, I laughed it off because what else was I supposed to do? My brain was screaming, "He's reading everything, he's seeing everything." And yet my mouth couldn't form the words to call him out. It's this awful cycle. He snoops, I feel violated, I stay quiet, he escalates. And now I'm scared to even text my own friends about it because I know he'll see. I feel like a prisoner in my own life, and the walls are closing in. Eventually, I couldn't keep pretending it wasn't happening. The paranoia was eating me alive. Every night, when I'd feel the bed shift and the glow of my phone screen light up, it was like my chest was being crushed. I'd lie there with tears burning in the corners of my eyes, wondering how the hell I ended up in a relationship where I was scared to even text my best friend about my day. So, one night after a few glasses of wine gave me enough courage, I decided to finally confront him. We were getting ready for bed, brushing our teeth side by side, and I blurted out, "Why do you keep going through my phone at night?" The look on his face, he didn't even deny it. He just froze, toothbrush in his mouth, staring at me like I'd pulled the pin on a grenade. He spit, rinsed, and then leaned against the sink like he was preparing for battle. "What are you talking about?" he asked, all calm. "I see you," I snapped. My voice was shaking, my chest tight. "Every night, you wait until I'm asleep, and then you go through my phone. I'm not stupid." Instead of apologizing, instead of admitting it, he went straight into defense mode. "So what if I do? What are you hiding that makes this such a big deal?" That question, that goddamn question. Like, the only reason I could possibly not want him snooping through my phone is because I'm guilty of something. My blood ran cold. "I'm not hiding anything," I said, tears in my eyes. "But it's my phone, my conversations, my privacy. Don't I deserve that?" He laughed, actually laughed, and said, "Privacy in a relationship? If you have nothing to hide, then why does it matter if I look?" I felt like I'd been slapped. He made it sound so reasonable, like I was the one being sketchy for not wanting him in my phone. I remember stammering, "Because it feels like a violation." But he just shook his head and muttered something about how girls always say that when they're guilty. That night, we fought until nearly 3 a.m. I cried. I begged him to understand how much it was hurting me, how paranoid it was making me feel. He finally admitted that he started checking my phone because of his ex, the one who cheated. I just can't go through that again, he said, his eyes watery. I need to know I can trust you. And here's the messed up part. I ended up comforting him. He made me feel so guilty for not being more understanding of his trauma that I literally apologized to him. I apologized for being upset that he was violating my privacy. He twisted it around so completely that by the end of the fight, I was hugging him and promising I'd be more patient, more open. But it didn't stop. In fact, it got worse. After that night, he didn't even bother hiding it anymore. Some nights, he'd just grab my phone off the nightstand while I was lying there scrolling and say, "Let me see." If I hesitated even for a second, he'd give me this cold look that made my stomach churn. So I'd hand it over, and he'd go through everything right in front of me. The paranoia spread into every part of my life. I started second guessing every message I sent. I'd reread text to my friends 5 times before hitting send, making sure there wasn't a single word he could misinterpret. I stopped texting my male coworkers altogether, terrified he'd twist something innocent into flirting. I even found myself deleting old conversations with girlfriends just in case there was anything that he could use against me. Then came the accusations. One night, he casually dropped, "So, do you think Josh from work is hot?" My heart nearly stopped. "What?" I stammered. I just noticed you two talk a lot," he said with the smirk that made me want to scream. It was work, literal work messages about deadlines and deliverables, but in his mind, it was evidence. I finally broke down and told my best friend about it. I didn't want to. I felt ashamed, like I somehow allowed this to happen, but I needed someone to tell me I wasn't crazy. So I spilled everything: how he checks my phone every night, how he twists things into accusations, how I feel like I'm constantly being watched. She didn't even hesitate. That's controlling. That's abusive. The word made my skin crawl. Abusive. I didn't want to believe it. I told her she was exaggerating, that he was just insecure, that he'd been hurt before. But she looked me dead in the eye and said, "No, this isn't insecurity. This is control. And it's only going to get worse." I cried the whole way home after that conversation because deep down I knew she was right. And then his family got involved. One night at dinner with his parents, I made some joke about how he was glued to my phone more than I am, trying to keep it lighthearted. His mom gave me the sharp look and said, "Well, maybe if you don't have anything to hide, it shouldn't bother you." I wanted to sink into the floor. He must have told them. He must have painted me as the shady girlfriend who gets defensive when he just wants transparency. And now his whole family is on his side. So, here I am. My best friend telling me it's abuse, his family telling me I'm the problem, and me stuck in the middle, too scared to leave, but too suffocated to stay. Here's where I feel completely stuck. On paper, I should know exactly what to do. My best friend is practically screaming at me to pack my bags. My gut is tying itself into knots every night, but yet I can't seem to just leave. Because here's the maddening part. During the day, he can be wonderful. He's affectionate, funny, thoughtful in those little ways that used to make me fall in love with him. He'll bring me coffee when I'm working from home. He'll text me, "Drive safe," when I'm on my way somewhere. He'll hold my hand when we're out, introduce me proudly to his coworkers as "my girl." Sometimes he'll even talk about our future, about maybe buying a house one day, maybe starting a family. And in those moments, I almost forget. I almost believe we're normal. But then night comes, and I see him sliding my phone off the nightstand like it belongs to him, and my chest tightens all over again. It's like I'm living with two different people: the sweet, attentive boyfriend in the daylight and the paranoid interrogator in the dark. And the whiplash is exhausting. I keep asking myself, is this worth salvaging? Is there even a version of this relationship where I can feel safe again? It's not like I can just flip a switch and walk out. We're financially tied together. Our lease doesn't end for another 7 months. We split everything down the middle: rent, utilities, groceries. We share a cat. Our stuff is all intertwined. and I don't have a safety net big enough to just break the lease and move out tomorrow.
Plus, and this is the part that makes me feel stupid, I still love him. Or maybe I love who I thought he was? I don't know anymore. But I can't just erase 3 years of history overnight. We've been through so much together, built routines and memories and little inside jokes that are hard to walk away from. Sometimes I catch myself clinging to those good moments like a lifeline, convincing myself maybe it's not that bad, maybe I'm overreacting. But then the doubt creeps in because it's never just about the phone, is it? It's about control. It's about trust. It's about the fact that he doesn't see me as an equal partner, but as someone he has the right to monitor, to surveil, to interrogate. And if he feels entitled to my phone now, what comes next? Will he start tracking my location? Controlling my finances? Telling me who I can and can't see? I've already seen shades of it. He gets weird if I hang out with my male coworkers, even in group settings. He makes little digs about how much time I spend with my best friend. He started saying things like, "You don't really need to go out tonight, do you? Why don't we just stay in?" And if I push back, he pouts or acts wounded, like I'm rejecting him. It's all so subtle, but it adds up. And I'm scared that if I keep ignoring it, one day I'll wake up and realize I've lost every piece of myself trying to keep him happy. I feel so torn because I don't know how much of this is fixable and how much is just who he is. He swears he's only like this because of what his ex did, and part of me still wants to believe that. That if he went to therapy or if we set boundaries, maybe things could get better. But then I think, I've already tried setting boundaries. I told him how much this hurts me, how it makes me feel violated. And instead of respecting that, he doubled down. He gaslit me. He made me feel guilty for wanting basic privacy. So, what hope do I really have that he'll change? Every day, I feel like I'm walking on eggshells, carefully editing myself so I won't trigger another round of accusations. And at night, I lie there, pretending to be asleep, waiting for the inevitable moment when he reaches for my phone again. It's gotten to the point where I dread bedtime. Who dreads going to sleep next to the person they're supposed to love? I feel trapped. And the worst part is, I don't even know if I trust my own judgment anymore. He's gotten so deep into my head that sometimes I genuinely wonder if I am being dramatic. If maybe it really isn't that big of a deal. If maybe this is just what relationships are like. But then I hear my best friend's voice saying, "This is abuse." And my chest aches because I know deep down she's right. And yet, I can't just pack up and leave tomorrow. I don't have the money. I don't have another place lined up. I don't even know how to explain it to my family without them panicking. So I sit here, frozen, living two lives: the smiling girlfriend everyone sees during the day, and the terrified hollow shell lying in bed at night, clutching my phone like it's the only piece of myself I have left. So that's where I'm at right now. Every day feels like a tug of war between my heart and my gut. My heart says, he loves you. He's just scared. Maybe you can fix this. My gut says, this is only going to get worse. Get out while you still can. I feel like I've lost myself in this relationship. I used to be independent, confident, even a little stubborn. Now I'm constantly second guessing everything I do, every word I type, every plan I make. I've shrunk myself down to try and fit into the box he's building for me, and I'm terrified one day there will be nothing left of me at all. But then I look at him in the morning when he's making me coffee and kissing my forehead like nothing's wrong, and I crumble. I think about our cat, our apartment, the life we've built, and I feel paralyzed. I keep asking myself, am I really going to throw away 3 years over just a phone? And that's what's messing me up the most. The voice in my head keeps minimizing it, saying, it's just a phone, don't be dramatic. But I know it's not just a phone. It's about trust. It's about control. It's about the fact that I don't feel safe with the person who's supposed to be my safe place. So, Reddit, I'm begging for some perspective. Am I crazy for feeling violated by this? Am I wrong for wanting privacy in a relationship? Is this something that can actually be worked on? Or is it a sign that I need to run before it escalates even further? I don't want to give up on someone I love, but I also don't want to wake up 5 years from now completely erased, my every move monitored and controlled. I feel like I'm standing at a fork in the road. Both paths are terrifying. Please tell me honestly, should I try to fix this or should I leave before it destroys me?